Hey there, this is Patrick from Dallas Hockey Hangout, coming to you after a 3-2 Stars overtime loss to the New York Rangers at the world's most famous arena in Square Garden. Always wanted to check out Madison Square Garden. Seems like a really cool place to see a game. Can't imagine they lack for in-arena ambiance there, but yeah, I'm a little under the weather today, but didn't want to miss an opportunity to talk about the game, especially after I missed a couple after the holiday days. Certainly missed a good one against the Mammoth, it seems. I believe that was the Friday. I can't keep them all straight anymore. But yeah, let's launch into tonight's game. I feel like need to start the discussion with Casey DeSmith. I mean, he's got the best road goals against average / save percentage. Probably should spout off stats I don't know off the top of my head, but I know he's definitely one of the best performing road goalies this season. So yeah, I mean, what else can you say about DeSmith? It seems like, it kind of felt like early on he had struggles to start the season, but that was exactly how last season went. So it seems like he's kind of picked right back up where he left off. I mean, 38 saves on 41 shots is incredible. I mean, 927 save percentage, I believe, is really close to his numbers on the season this year on the road. I mean, I think I wanted to lead the pod with DeSmith because I feel like if you weren't totally dialed into this game, you might have seen that Dallas had a lead late in the third period and that they gave up a 6-on-5 goal and then lost in overtime. And I mean, really, DeSmith, if he wasn't playing like he did, and if the Stars didn't have him, he easily could have been a much more lopsided game in favor of the Rangers, because there was a pretty large portion of the game at which they were controlling much of the play, and DeSmith was bailing them out, especially on that double minor that the Stars somehow killed off. Like, I mean, it's incredible. Yeah, it was a Sam Steele double minor, and man, was DeSmith incredible there. I mean, he made a couple sliding short side saves on Zibanejad. He had that crazy play off the pipe and off his back. And I mean, so I feel like talking about him and framing the game through how he performed, we should look at this game, because I think let's just assume New York would have gotten one of those and they're ahead 2-1, you're feeling much different about things on the road. New York not scoring a ton at home, you might be feeling a lot different. But then, Mikko gets that big goal midway through the third. And I mean, what can you say about that 2-on-1 that Mikko and Wyatt had? I mean, I saw it was both of them together on the 2-on-1, and I thought for sure this is going in. And that's an incredible feeling to have right now as a Stars fan. Probably have to say that Mikko and Wyatt probably have the two best sets of hands on the team. Right up there, I'd put Miro, Rope, Jamie, Robo, but I mean, man, it's got to be Wyatt and Moose 1 and 2, 1A, 1B, depending on who you choose. But yeah, as soon as I saw that it was them two, I knew it was going to be a goal. And then that pass by Wyatt to slide it past the sliding New York defender there. And then, I mean, just put it right on the tape of Rantanen. And, Rantanen just shows why he's worth the 12.5, 13 mil with, his roof shot. It's sometimes hard to elevate and tight right there. And you would expect someone of his caliber to kind of bury that, especially with a good pass. And he did that, bar down like that. Really, that was it's really impressive. I mean, what can you say about Ren? He's still impressive. Obviously, he's been dishing out assists lately, and knew that would be coming back around just as teams start to overplay Wyatt, overplay Robo. you know, Moose is going to find himself available for some one-timers and deflections and just cram plays. I mean, obviously he's looking to dish right now, but it's also good to see that, he shot it there, because we all know that this Stars team is liable to overpass. They fall victim to the overpassitis every once in a while. So, yeah, I think I would prefer Dallas to be a little bit more shot focused, but I think also that's important how we contextualize this game, because it did seem as though Dallas was happy to play low event, pack it in, block shots, outside opportunities only, and wait for their opportunities. And, that presented itself in the third period, and Miko and Wyatt capitalized on it. So how many times have we seen other teams do that to us with very conservative game plans? It's not that Dallas had a conservative game plan. I think just generally they're happy with where the defensive game is right now, and they're happy being opportunistic offensively, also knowing that they have the league's best power play and, guys on this team that are just really hot right now. So I think that I would expect the message from Gulletson to be, let's not beat ourselves, especially as the team is dealing with injuries, which we'll get to here in a second. Yeah, I mean, want to touch on Capo's goal. I mean, first goal of the season, he had that big clapper off the back of the boards, and then somehow a puck finds his way back to him. And, man, his wrist shot was really fast. It seemed like Shesterkin really was not prepared for the speed of that shot. I mean, where would Dallas be without their scoring from their defensemen right now? It's incredible right now. I mean, you had a Capobianco, Kolyachonok, which I feel much better about pronouncing now than I did maybe a couple pods ago or games ago. Thinks we're probably going to have to get used to pronouncing some other names now with Bischel out 6 to 8 weeks. Man, that's just such a gut punch. And then, obviously we'll touch on Sagan in a second, but I mean, great goal by Capobianco. Feels like he's really showing some development, and I like what I've seen from him skating hands-wise. When a player gets thrust in more defensive minutes, personally, I evaluate them by how they're doing defensively, because I feel like that's what the coaches really care about there, as far as, hey, you're stepping in. We're not counting on you to produce offense. We just want you to get the puck out of the zone, keep things tight defensively. So, I mean, largely I feel that way about him, Kolyachonok, Petrovic, these guys that have kind of had to take a little larger role on the season. So, yeah, it's a shame that DeSmith didn't get the win there, because, you probably won't see very many games in which Dallas is leading in the third at any point and lose the game. So I saw his post-game interviews, seemed pretty frustrated, and rightfully so. You could see how he skated off the ice. He didn't really, talk to his teammates right off. It's tough to see, because obviously that frustration, I'm sure, is from his own expectations. They're, a couple minutes away from potentially closing it out, and the Rangers get the 6-on-5. I mean, kind of just, I have to look at the play again. And largely, how I approach this podcast is, everyone can look up the goals. And as much as I love a good goal description, as much as the next guy, video is going to do more power than I can describing it. But I mean, OT, that just happened in a flash. I mean, at this point, like, with how Dallas has fared at the Garden the last couple years, I was not surprised in the least to see that not go their way. And yeah, just credit to the Rangers. It seemed like they really were making a point to shoot the puck, get to the net, ask the puck for better shooting angles. And, I mean, props to them for coming through with the win. It hurts to lose the way they did, but, largely, I feel like the Stars can be proud of that effort, and that, they were on the road. You're tied headed into the third period. I mean, I'm not sure what else you could ask for, given the way Dallas has come from behind this season, and just stuck in games. I mean, I think probably most of us felt like Dallas is going to find a way to pull this win out. So, I feel like they, to give up the game time goal with 2:13 left or whatever it was, that, I mean, it's going to happen. So, it'll be interesting to see if that is a concern moving forward. I know Dallas hasn't always been the best about handling a 6-on-5 situation. Obviously, there was that game a couple years ago where Dallas gave up the game tying goal or the losing goal to the Rangers in like the last 10th of a second. So those always stick in your craw. Not really sure what a craw is, but it's stuck in there. But yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Dallas is so good about picking up points, and I think it's really important how we frame this game because, like I said, if DeSmith is not standing on his head during that double minor, Dallas potentially trailing and feeling much different about, where the game is at. And so I don't look at it as that they quote unquote choked. I just looked at it as, the Rangers, finally broke the dam. So, and props to DeSmith for also coming in. Like, I'm sure that he was probably mentally preparing for playing the Devils. Obviously, it seemed like they had to switch some things around because Ottinger was, I guess, under the weather. It'll be, I mean, seemingly they said he's fine. So we expect him Wednesday against the Devils. But there's part of me that could see DeSmith, like, let's say this is an actual like sickness or illness. I could see Ottinger not being 100% and them just saying, hey, let's give DeSmith another run. So I expect to see Ottinger, but wouldn't be surprised if somehow they said, no, we're going to give DeSmith another one, especially considering the way he played this game. So 3 stars. There are always going to be stars focused on this podcast. But that said, if there's a Rangers player I feel like sticks out, then, we'll call it like we see it always. So as much as I felt like DeSmith was the best player in the game, I do think I would give the number 1 star to Gavrikov there for getting the OT winner. And then I would give DeSmith number 2. And yeah, number 3, I'm not sure if the stats back it up, but my gut would say Cooley. I know that for New York, he had the goal and, 17, almost 18 minutes played, 3 hits, fine. I mean, Dallas lost, so you give them 2 out of the 3. If I had to pick another star, I'd probably say Moose. But yeah, to just keep it pushing. Obviously, a pretty big topic of discussion is the Stars injuries right now. It's so frustrating right now. Like, you just get the news that Bichel is out. So they have an injury at their most depleted area, which is their defenseman. And then you see what happens to Seguin with, what'd they say on the broadcast? Like, his injury happened like a year ago. So December 1st or something last year. So, man, let's hope that that's not, season ending and he can make it back sooner than he did last year, which was for the playoffs. And I think Dallas really missed him last year, just from a defensive standpoint and face-offs and, that second power play unit. So, let's hope Seguin gets back soon. But, I'm not a doctor. Don't pretend to be one. Don't have a lot of patience either. But that said, it seemed like that it could have been worse. I don't know. I think that's just the Stars optimist in me. It seemed like, it could have been worse. I guess we hope it's not that bad for Seguin and that maybe it's a couple games, maybe it's a couple weeks. Man, I just hope it's not anything that requires any kind of surgery because, man, mentally I worry about how that would affect Seguin. Obviously, ultimate pro. He's been playing for a long time, handles injuries, has had plenty of them. He's gotten a lot of experience with it. But, man, after all that grind to get back last year and to play in playoffs, and he's looked really good to start this year as far as, great 2-way game and seems like he's not shying away from the physical stuff. Heard Razor mention that seemed like he was really setting a nice example for some of the younger players with his 2-way play. So seen lots of great back checks from him this year. And, seems like his offense is be something that's going to be hopefully a pretty big asset for Dallas, especially I think playoff time when talking about potentially rolling Sagan out on like a third line. Like I do think Dallas has that type of depth at which we could see Sagan on a third line and him come through and just be getting some different matchups. So really hope he gets back. Hope that injury's not as bad as it did seem to look. I mean, I don't know. It's just at this point, like, I'm sure you can hear in my voice. There's a certain amount of depression that kicks in if you're a Stars fan here, because, like, I mean, let's name. I mean, you got Duchesne out, you've got Harley out, you've got Ernie, you've got now Bichel, you got Niels Lundqvist, now Sagan. Sure, I'm missing someone, but geez, I mean, just the luck with this team right now, it's crazy. I mean, no other team is going to be where this team is right now with the injuries. And so, you know, how many games in are we? We're approximately 23 games into the year. So it'll be interesting come 45 games, like when Dallas potentially has a dip in play. Are we going to remember the fact that they did so well during this current injury stretch? I've never been more confident that Dallas is going to roll with the punches, next man up. But that said, it does seem to be approaching a pretty concerning level of, hey, what's the next defenseman the Stars are going to call up if they have to? And you start looking at players you haven't seen in training camp or only got a chance to see in one preseason game, and that might have been the road game. And I know I didn't make it to as many preseason games as I'd hoped this year. So I feel like Dallas would be fine at forward as far as offensively, because I think that, like, with their power play and the amount of skill they still have on the team with Robo, Wyatt, Moose, Jamie, Rope, I mean, that should be that's better than most teams' set of forwards right there. I don't think that's a stretch saying that. So I feel like Dallas is going to be fine, but I do always worry about the defense. I'm not sure why the offense struggled as much today. I also wonder how much like playing a goalie like Shesterkin has to do with maybe some of their shot choices, and maybe there might have been some of that overpassitis, but I think largely it was just because New York had the puck a lot of the game and because of the penalties, and Dallas did look a step slow, but not to the extent that you would think it would be overt fatigue. So I think obviously we'll see some of that tomorrow against the Devils. So yeah, we'll just close up there. Got a chance to watch that Devils game last night against, I think it was Columbus. And man, that was a really entertaining game. Yeah, Columbus came out on top. Obviously, you can't talk Devils without talking the ridiculous Jack Hughes injury at the team dinner. It's on his hand. Like, I'm totally envisioning that, you know, knife thing where they stick their hand out, you start poking around, which just seems like a really insane thing and contract voidable thing if that was some other player they were Devils might have had an issue with. But I mean, Jack, what are you doing? I mean, I'm happy the Stars don't have to play them, but from an entertainment standpoint, it's like the Devils go from, oh man, this is a really excited team. It's still going to be this way, but it's going to be pretty, you know, East-West hockey and expected to be pretty fast game, lots of chances. That said, it's always great when, you know, you have your star players in the big games. But, you know, I did get a chance to watch that Columbus game, and it was Brenden Dillon's 1,000th game. I think it'll be really great to hear the broadcast talk about Dillon and just his stops around the NHL. And I mean, you want to feel old, Stars fans. I mean, 1,000 games for Brenden Dillon? Like, where has the time gone? It seems like just yesterday he was playing for San Jose, and just before that, it seems like, you know, he was with the Stars. So, oh yeah, and the like couple years he spent in Washington and Winnipeg. But I mean, I did want to touch on Dillon because it was really great hearing how complimentary everyone was of him and as a player. And then I didn't see the play that led to it, but yeah, there was some hit on Dillon that took him out of the game. And then it just went crazy from there. Tons of fights, penalty boxes everywhere, or players in the penalty box, I should say, only 2 penalty boxes. So yeah, just a really weird confluence of it's Dillon's 1000th game. He gets hurt. Then the rest of the Devils like throw down the gauntlet to protect him. And I certainly love seeing that in a team. But I mean, it's hard not to look at the score and feel like maybe they lost the plot on that, losing 5-3 at home to the Jackets, which, aren't a bad team. 12-9-5 on the year. It's not bad. And conversely, Devils 16-9-1. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that game goes. New Jersey's obviously going to play better, I think, against the Stars. You would expect them to, given the Stars just played tonight. So, it'd be really interesting to see how Otter handles I'm sure many shots he's going to get tomorrow. But that said, Devils are kind of reeling a little bit. They had a pretty good start to the season, and it seems like, lately they've slowed down a little bit. Yeah, back-to-back 5-3 losses. But, I mean, before then, a 3-game win streak, but then before that, a 3-game losing streak. So, with some pretty tough losses. Now, they were all road losses, but a 5-1 loss to Tampa, 1-0 loss at Florida, and then 6-3 loss at Philadelphia. And then they lose again 5-3 to Philadelphia on Saturdays. I mean, certainly it's too early into the season to write off a team, but I don't think anyone had Philadelphia, being as much of a thorn in the Devil's side. They're 14-8-3 this year. So it'd be really interesting to see how that game shakes out. But just to close off on Brenden Dillon, not a flex by any means, but I did get a chance to cover his first NHL game when I was writing for, I believe it was the Examiner. But I covered his last game of the season against the Blues, I think it was, and Stars called him up, get him some opportunities. And man, it was just, couldn't tell you exactly how that game played out because that was a long time ago. But man, I definitely remember interviewing him after the game, almost, I think it was by myself. And I'm asking him, I'm like, hey, it's kind of like how I felt to be in there interviewing people. And, being a sports writer is a pretty eye-opening experience. I hadn't done it a ton of times, but, it was really cool to see someone else look back into his eyes and see that same like jubilation for an opportunity. So I've always kind of had a connection to Dillon over the years because of that, just getting to cover his game and see how excited he was to be in the league and to see him stick around in the league because he's always been kind of like a defensive defenseman. I mean, Chuck Knuckles with the best of them, but everybody's looking for that high ceiling, player defensively, offensively. It's all about the offense defensively these days. But I mean, man, wouldn't you love to have Brenden Dillon on the Stars teams right now? I mean, shut down defensively, physical, PK, leadership, voice in the locker room, block shots. I mean, what else could you ask for? Can we trade for him? Stars should consider it. Wouldn't that be a reunion? Maybe the Stars should go full Alexiak and figure out what they'd gotten for Dillon originally. I don't even think they traded him. I think he might have left in free agency, but man, that's forever ago. That just tells you how long it's been since he's been with the Stars. Curiosity has me, so definitely going to look at that. Yeah, it looks like he got traded 20 games into the season to the Sharks. So, yeah, figure out what they traded for him, get him back. But yeah, man, what a great career he's had. I hope to see him keep piling up the games. And if you get an opportunity to see his post or pre-game press conference, I think some of the reporters had showed him some photos and some emotions came to him. And man, that's what it's all about. You see these guys that, I mean, heck, you see Sagan with an injury right here. Like, they put so much on the line, their bodies, their minds, their families, to do all of this. And so when you see good stuff happen to good guys, it doesn't matter what team they play for. It's always good to see. So respect for Brenden Dillon, someone send him this clip because, man, I got a lot of respect for him. And we'll always remember that first game he played. So had to just wrap up. A tough loss for the Stars when they're up 2-1, but I think largely, if you were to say Dallas was going to get a point out of it after they were just under massive bombardment of shots in the second and the third from the Rangers, like, I think I would have signed up for that. So, turn the page. It's a very long season. Obviously you're going to see these injuries start impacting one way or another. Just hope that they can just remain as healthy as they currently are. I'm sure you're going to have to see some strategy change as well. I would definitely expect them to tighten the screws defensively and be a little less risky, to put less pressure on, forwards having to track back and defensemen having to carry too much of the load trying to get the puck out of their own zone. So we turn the page, we march forward. Nothing on the whiteboard today. Just want to pump this guy out. But you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, topics, Dallas Hockey Hangout at gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you guys later.